Good morning and welcome to New York Viewpoint. I'm Ken Rosato. Today we'll have with us the Jewish Board with information on the human services they provide to area residents. We'll also bring you the latest information from the 5th Annual American Express Open Report on women-owned businesses. But first, we bring you information on the recycling of harmful products from your home, things you don't normally think about. American households produce an average of 530,000 tons of harmful waste every single year. Now, these include items such as batteries. You know, you just toss them in the garbage without thinking. You shouldn't be doing that. Latex paint, insecticides, motor oil, bleach, and expired medications. Joining us in the studio now are Bridget Anderson, Deputy Commissioner for Recycling and Sustainability at the New York City Department of Sanitation. Richard Johnsen, who's Special Service Manager for the NYC program of Veolia, North America. And John S. Shegerian, Chairman and CEO of Electronic Recyclers International. Good to have you all with us today. Let me ask you first, Bridget, what is the NYC Safe Disposal Program?
The Department of Sanitation created the NYC Safe Disposal Program to help New Yorkers get rid of their unwanted, harmful products that are in their homes. They clutter the basement, they clutter their spaces. Get rid of them properly, recycle them, safely dispose of what are harmful materials.
Yeah, I mean, I know, for instance, every time you get the flickering fluorescent bulb, the temptation is, oh, just put it in a garbage bag and smash it and throw it. You can't do that. There's harmful stuff in those things, right? But I know all the home goods stores will take them back. They will take them out. You just got to bring them back.
Yes, there are take-back programs, but we're trying to make it more easy and more convenient for New Yorkers to get rid of their materials. So in every single borough, every year, we hold these disposal collection events where we recycle electronics and we safely dispose of other harmful household products.
So you make it as easy as pie. There's no excuse.
You try to, yes.
No excuse at all.
Exactly.
Richard, tell us about some of the harmful household products.
Well, household harmful products, also known as household hazardous waste, are materials that have constituents in it that are harmful to the health and the environment. They, as you said, they involve batteries, motor oils, antifreezes, things along those lines. Many people don't know that these materials cannot simply be thrown in the garbage or poured down the drain. That's why DSNY has partnered up with ERI as well as Veolia and help sponsor these events.
Yeah, now the reason why lithium batteries last for years sometimes is because if you go to throw them out, they last for centuries, right? So you don't want to just toss them in the garbage because they're toxic.
They're very hazardous. They create a fire hazard, and they are easily recyclable as well.
Right, and they a little juicing up, and they could be put back in the system again and reused on a shelf for somebody else.
That's
so
correct.
why waste it? Because I was reading, to acquire lithium is very difficult and very expensive. Whereas if you take the lithium and rejuice it, if you will, it could be used in another lithium battery very easily.
That's correct.
So now, when it comes to somebody taking their lithium batteries or any other kind of batteries or whatever, you know, the thought of having to gather it up and take it someplace, I think for a lot of people, I think that's a very daunting task. But as we just heard, it's not that difficult.
That's right. New York City has made it very user-friendly with the amount of events that they have scheduled and the permanent facilities that they have in all 5 boroughs. It is a very user-friendly program for city residents to bring those materials in.
All right, so should they just gather everything up in a bag and wait till a certain day comes, or what's the best advice?
It's not necessary. There are 10 events held throughout the year, 2 in each borough, but they have 1 facility in each borough that's open every Saturday and the last Friday of the month, and they can bring them into those facilities as well. They don't have to wait for these scheduled events.
Well, it sounds like it's so easy that there really is no excuse. Talk about, John, the importance, why it is so essential, and why you should say, maybe the younger folks. The younger folks are the ones who usually drill stuff into the older folks' heads. Why is it so important to recycle and to put this stuff aside, not just toss it?
Well, electronics is the fastest growing solid waste stream in the world. And electronics, first of all, have arsenic, beryllium, lead, mercury, and cadmium, and any other hazardous materials in them. So it should never go into a landfill, because once it goes into the landfill, it gets into our ecosystem, which then gets into our plants, our water, and back into humans and animals. Very bad. The other thing is we shouldn't fill up our landfills with these materials. Why fill up these landfills with these materials, old electronics, when you could take the electronics out, responsibly recycle them, make them into plastics and metals and glass, and 100% recycled. You know, all of it then goes back to smelters and gets totally reused instead of filling up our landfills needlessly and poisoning our environment. And the last thing is data. The whole issue of cybersecurity and data protection, whether you're just a man or a woman on the street, a young person, or a big corporation or a government, all the data that's in your cell phone, in your hard drive, which is in the internet and everything has a hard drive. We, or any other responsible recycler, turns the data into dust.
Oh, wow.
And this is the whole key to the whole issue now. Not only do we need to protect the environment, but everyone needs to protect their data. So when we keep the electronics in partnership with Veolia and the City of New York out of the landfills here, we then responsibly recycle it. 100% of it gets recycled, all the plastics, the metals, and the glass, and all your data turns into dust.
That's fascinating. So this way you don't have to worry about somebody finding the data. Right now, as we're taping this show, the former Secretary of State is you know, her hard drive is being de-encrypted, and right now the FBI is looking to see if there were any emails that may be potentially dangerous to, you know, with top security clearances, etc., that may have been passed on the private email server of the former Secretary of State. So this can be done. If they could do it to her hard drive, they could do it to our hard drive.
That's right. And the City of New York was very careful when they chose their partners, Veolia and Electronic Recycles International, to make sure that the data is protected besides the environment.
Okay. Bridget, let me ask you how people are responding to this. Are people taking responsibility now and actually putting those batteries aside and not chucking them in the garbage? Because I will confess that 10 years ago I used to throw my batteries out, but I will tell you that now I don't do that anymore. I honestly do recycle my batteries.
Well, that's great. You would not believe how popular these programs are. Our collection events have become one of the largest programs like this in the world. We have people driving in, we have people walking in, we have people taking taxis to bring their unwanted medications, mercury-laden devices, electronics, to safely dispose of them, to recycle them where possible. Some of the material gets blended for fuel. So as much as possible, we try and create a new life for this material instead of having it go into disposal.
And we had done a story not long ago about how there were micro traces of antibiotics in a water supply out west because so many people were flushing old antibiotics down the toilet, and it actually made its way back into it was a small community's water supply. But that's why you're not supposed to just do that. You're supposed to actually turn your old medications back into hospitals and whatnot, right? If that's the case, if you have mega amounts.
Your sharps, your injectables, your medications, safely dispose of those materials. You can bring them back to hospitals, but we also offer that collection at our events.
Yeah, there is a way to get this stuff properly dealt with. So what last bit of advice do you have? Where should you keep it? If you're going to keep this stuff in the house somewhere, there's a safe place to keep this stuff as well, right? What advice do you have?
That's correct. A lot of this material is marked poison, toxic, flammable, and they should be segregated properly. They should be kept out of the reach of children and your pets. Disposing of them properly can protect the sanitation workers that are collecting this material roadside as well. So the importance of storing the material properly within your household is very, very important.
And just don't throw it in the garbage.
Do not throw it in the garbage.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Bridget, Richard, and John, for being with us. Keep the environment clean. We want it to be here for a long time, so we could be here for a long time. How about that? Nice to have you here today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.